Well, thank you for joining us for this week's edition of the ECONversations Podcast with our economic development gurus. Kimberly Davidson with the city of Wildomar, Rob Moran with the county of Riverside, Grant Taylor with the city of Lake Elsinore, and Scott Agajanian with the city of Murrieta. And Grant, 10 days left, so his smile keeps getting bigger. But we're glad to have you.
He does look very relaxed.
Yeah.
Chill.
Well, he's always looks relaxed. That's the surfer. So we're going to talk today about what is above Miss Kimberly Davidson's head, which is supporting small business and shopping local. We know how important that is. Obviously, we've got, different campaigns that happen each year. We've got, Shop Small, the Saturday after Thanksgiving to compete with Black Friday and different things along throughout the year. But obviously, it's extremely important that, shopping small and shopping local is extremely important all year long, probably more so now than ever before. So, kind of wanted to get each one of your takes on, what it means for you guys in your communities, what you guys are doing around it, those types of things. So, Kimberly, since you have the perfect header for this, why don't we start with you?
All right. So, yes, it's very important. And, we all love our national chains, and it's important to support our national chains as well, because they do employ people from around the community, and certainly the managers and general managers might be from around the community too. But truly, when you support a small business, you are supporting, usually in this valley, a husband and wife, their children, and their commitment to the community. So it's really important. These people have put in literally everything that they own in many cases, and they continue to every day. They put everything on the line every day. They put their marriage, they put their mortgage, they put their entire life on the line. And it's not necessarily a commitment like that you see at the national level. There's a lot more cushion at that national level, and those national chains can do a lot more and have a lot more support to be able to do a lot more. And on the same on that same token, their hands are a little bit tied too. If any of you have ever gone to a large chain to try to get a sponsorship for something, sometimes it's not that easy. They have certain protocols and that sort of thing. Whereas you walk into one of our small businesses, ask for a sponsorship for one of our city events or some workshop that we're doing, and it's very often a much different conversation, because these small businesses want to support the community and want to support their own city and the events going on in their city. So it's really important. Your dollar is $1, one vote when you're at the small business, 1 for 1 right there. So, and I love that I've been putting a meme up ever since this pandemic started that says where you spend your dollars around town is your vote for what small businesses you want there. So you need to be very deliberate about what businesses you are supporting. If you want more chains, go to the chains. If you want more small business and you want more eclectic restaurants and retail, then you need to go and support those that are there.
Yeah, it's a great point. I know that I think the last number I saw is for every dollar spent locally, it'll change hands 7 times within your local community before it leaves the community. And that power is huge. So Scott, let me know, what are you guys doing around this?
The power is huge. Well, huge. First of all, that puts a lot of pressure on us, Kim, because now I feel like I'm not just risking a business, I'm risking marriages, and I don't.
Well, you
I don't
are.
want to put these poor families. You already displayed the perfect nuclear family, right, where they've got the kids and the husband and wife running this business. Now I feel like I'm breaking apart families if I don't shop local. So that was a great pressure point to get people to shop local. I really appreciate it. I completely agree with everything Kim said. You really do make a big difference when you shop with your local businesses. When you look around, your community community. Your community is going to grow by the growth of your small businesses. We're not going to get in a big Amazon every other day and change the face of a city with 20,000 new jobs. We're going to grow by growing small business. We're going to grow by taking mom and pop shops and helping them to expand and helping them to get bigger and bigger. And that's where you see all of our communities starting to kind of flesh out a little bit. A lot of our communities started very small bedroom communities, and over time have kind of transitioned to really becoming their own individual economies. And that's because people are supporting their local small business. And it's one of the important things that you can do as a shopper. All the time that you hear, people come into your cities and say, why don't we have this business or that? Really, shoppers or residents have the most power because they're the ones who determine what kind of industries get interested here, because they're the ones who spend the dollars here. So, if you ever think to yourself, why don't we have this? Think to yourself, did something similar close down that I didn't shop at? Did I not go out and support a similar type retailer? Because you really have a lot of power with your dollars in the community that you serve.
You got to vote with your dollar.
Vote with the
Shop
bucks.
where you want to see more things like that pop up.
Keep those marriages together. You don't let them fall apart.
All right, Grant, what do you see in Lake Elsinore?
Oh, it's so important. The small businesses, the shop local. I mean, Kimberly Scott hit the nail on the head. It's critical. We do whatever we can to retain and expand our local small businesses, our moms and pop shops. Help them all we can. We have a downtown merchants association that we try to support, to rally the local businesses to be involved, to expand. If one comes in for a sign permit, a tenant improvement, anything, we push them to the front of the line as far as entitlement, permitting, try to be business friendly, help them out as much as we can. It's the heart and soul of the city. And the website, we encourage folks to shop local. I always shop local. I live in Lake Elsinore. No need to go outside. Everything that I got's here. And, the Walmarts, the Hondas, those are a one-time shot in the arm. But the heart and soul, the lifeblood is the small businesses. And, you see the families like the La Unica Mexican restaurant down the street started as a little bakery. Now it's expanded into a nice Mexican restaurant, sports bar, a real success story. We use that kind of as a benchmark and try to help other businesses achieve similar successes. But yeah, small business is your lifeblood.
Yeah, and I think that they all fall within small businesses, right? So, and we know in California that is the backbone, right? Nearly 80% of all jobs in the state of California are held by companies of 20 or less employees. I mean, that's as small business as it gets. So,
and an even higher percentage in the United States.
Yeah,
as a whole.
And I think that I know we've all talked about the importance of recruiting and talking to franchisees as well. Those are one of those things too that I think sometimes get lost or gets missed in this conversation, right? Mm-hmm. Is that we have a lot of franchisees that may have that national brand name or recognition, but they're locally owned. They're owned by that married couple, and we want to keep them all together. So
the Duncan in both Murrieta and Wildomar, locally owned, franchisee, great guy, and great family.
Yeah, and huge supporters of the community.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's also, and that may be something where it's incumbent on, like us to make sure that we're telling that story, but also on the community to understand is that just because it has a national name doesn't necessarily mean it's a national company. It may be locally owned and driven. So, so Wilson, what do you think?
Hey, Patrick, I just wanted to mention, thank you for calling me. Hey, your microphone is really low. Not that anybody's listening, but
oh, thanks. I totally appreciate that.
So I just figured I'd say that for the rest of the group.
That's good to know. I appreciate it. Thank you.
But it seems like it's a little low.
I'll lean in a little bit. Is that
better?
There you go.
I'm glad you brought up that point. That is an excellent point. In that a lot of times, a franchise is not everybody just comes up with their own concept and their idea for a business. They're kind of looking for a I don't want to say a ready-made package, but sort of the support structure that comes with a franchise. And some of those, national franchises, like some of the yogurt shops and so forth, they have a fairly low entry point, as far as getting, buying into the franchise. And so again, that can be another avenue for somebody who's entrepreneurial. They kind of want the big name, but they own it locally, and it lives or dies based on what happens through their efforts and through the business. But I think one fundamental difference too that sometimes people don't see is that the profit when you have sort of a small independent versus maybe a chain is sort of the buck stops at the local level, right? With the small mom, let's call it the mom and pop or the local business, and that profit or those gains kind of get redistributed throughout the local community, whereas sometimes that doesn't happen with a larger chain because the profits are flowing somewhere else.
Outside.
And that's not a bad thing. It's just that's the way that these corporations are structured. So they might be going to a corporate entity in New York or LA or somewhere else. Whereas when it's a mom and pop or a small local business, that money typically is generated and stays within that community. And so they're buying their supplies. Sometimes it's from the local Costco or Smart and Final. And they're buying homes and contracting services, all the different things that the money kind of flows back into the community. And so I think that's an important distinction to make. But, you guys have heard me say this before, the thing that I think it's important that is to have that ecosystem in our community that supports people that want to be entrepreneurs. Because, some are going to make it. Unfortunately, some are going to fail as well. But we want to have that infrastructure in place that supports everything from the concept to execution, so that people know if you want to establish a business, I've got a place I can go. I've got the help right here in my local city. I can call Kim or Scott or Grant or Rob or Patrick or anybody, and I know they're going to help me, and they're going to connect me with whatever that resource is. It's ferreting out the idea. It's the financing. It's the consulting about what do you do when this happens, and how do you handle this situation? How do I create that marketing plan? And how do you do all those things that don't just start and end on day one, but they're kind of an ongoing support system and relationship. And I think that's pretty key to having mom and pops and other businesses succeed in areas, having the support system in place to help them, and especially at these times. But even in normal good times when things are working, is just having that support system in place to help them out.
We should probably note too that we're really talking about two different concepts, similar but different. There's support small, which is what we've really been talking about, and then there's shop local, and they're related but different. And with the shop local, for example, you need to be deliberate about shopping in the city that you intend to help. So if you are a Wildomar resident, for example, I'll use my own city. If you're a Wildomar resident and really want to see the success of Wildomar, you need to be deliberate about buying things in Wildomar, like your gas. You need to really think twice before you head out to do something for the day, whether that's commuting to your job. Fill up your gas tank before you leave the city. And those things make a huge difference, because shopping local, your city, that's where they get the majority of their general fund money to pay for police and fire and a lot of other city services that are paid out of the general fund. And it's really like a small trickle that comes in. So it's extremely important to make sure that you're deliberate. Every dollar that you spend it in the city that you intend to help. And that would be, not necessarily supporting small in that case. That might be buying gas at Chevron or Mobil or any of the, when you're shopping local, that would incorporate any kind of business within that city, but being deliberate about shopping in the city that you want to support.
Remember, every tank of gas saves another family. Don't let them fall apart.
No, I think you make a great point, Kim, in that one of the challenges I think with creating a large, shop local program is with that you have to change people's habits, right? And changing people's habits is extremely difficult. But if you started small, pun intended, then, obviously like just changing your, where you fill up your gas habit. That's one small step that everyone can take, but it's a huge impact to a community. And, taking those steps to get to a place where you then can maybe get to another step and so forth. But to create this big, large, ambitious program sometimes is very daunting when you're talking about people's shopping habits.
And, I think, I can't remember the exact numbers. Maybe one of you will remember it better than I do, but your dollar, let's just take the gas station, for example, your dollar goes to a lot of other places before it gets to your city government. I believe we get 8 cents on the dollar. I think it's something like that. Is it less than that?
Yeah.
So we get pennies, maybe a penny for every dollar that you spend at the gas tank. So it's not, I know gas can get quite pricey when especially in the days when we're commuting and that sort of thing. You go to fill up your tank for $65, for example, your city government is not getting that $65. We're getting pennies from that. We're getting coins. That's where all the coins are going. That's why there's a coin shortage. We're getting all the coins. So it really does take a lot. It takes a lot of people being deliberate a lot of the time to really make a difference, to make sure that your dollars are going where you want your dollars to go.
And Southwest has a unique aspect to it, not entirely unique in Riverside County, is that you have people coming. This is a little bit of a twist on this whole discussion, but you have people coming from outside the area to spend their money in the area.
Which we love.
Absolutely.
Good thing.
With wine country, which is in the unincorporated area. I know everybody knows that. Lake Elsinore and everything in between. And so that's a really nice thing too, is where you have tourism dollars coming into your community. And people coming in and leaving their money there. That's also a real positive economic impact.
I think a big piece of that, Rob, is that when people come to a community, they're not looking to have the same experience they had at home. So while at home you might shop in some of the traditional larger retail big box chains, you don't do that when you're on vacation. I think you generally tend to go out and find those little niche places that are maybe unique and give you a different experience than you have on a day-to-day. And that really does help the local small businesses.
And you get more of the impulse buying, occurring as well.
Yeah. And what's important to note too, because it almost sounds like we're picking on the not small businesses, but we're not. But because the national retailers pay the bills. They're the anchors for the plazas. That we need them. Absolutely, we need them. We need the Albertsons. We need the Walmarts. We need the Starbucks. As much as a lot of people love to hate some of those brand names, we need them. They foot the bill for the plaza that allows the mom and pops to go in. Yep. But while we need those national retailers to foot the bill, we need the mom and pops to create the atmosphere. And that's what really creates the sense of community in a city, is those mom and pops and the just the atmosphere, the tone that they set for the community. So it all works together very, very well. Just like you can't have a city full of only chains, you also can't have a city that only has mom and pops. You really need a nice balance of the two. So I wouldn't want anyone to think that we're, not paying attention to the Starbucks and the Albertsons and, some of the Walmart and Target. Those are needed as well, but those get the attention, and we need to focus our attention even more on the mom and pops and make sure that we're giving them equal attention as well.
Well, here's another thing that is an undeniable fact, and that I think people forget, is every single one of those big corporations that we've named, whether it's an Amazon or whether it's a Microsoft or a Target, or you pick the grocery store, at one point, perhaps before we were born, they started off as that mom and pop store somewhere. And then over the decades, they grew into this either mega corporation like an Amazon and a Microsoft. I grew up in Seattle, and they weren't there, at least not in a noticeable way. And now look at them, they have hundreds of office buildings. And so, they start, and they don't all get to be that big and domineering, but my point is that, some of these small businesses that are in our communities today could be those really big corporate companies that have their headquarters here, in Riverside County, and the investment and the employment that goes with it that, you know, stays here. And so there's that kind of that twist to the coin, or the other side of the coin, that you never know what some of these companies that are small, you know, local mom and pops, let's say, what they could turn into in the future, which is a good thing.
Yeah. And I think the cities and counties can help a lot with some of the things we do, the special events, the government facilities. I think it really helps and nurtures these businesses. We'll have car shows and holiday events, and the shop locals, they just make a killing off of those. With Launch Point opening over on the north side of the lake, some of those underperforming centers with the small businesses are now starting to thrive. The tourists are coming in, they need things to get retail, food, services. They're leaving their money here. And like you said, the money spent here in small businesses generally stays within the community. So whatever we can do to help as well.
Many times I've left my money in Lake Elsinore thanks to that casino.
Keep that up.
And don't forget, everyone, if you're still married because your business has been supported, go to Launch Point. And quick addition to that, I want to jump back on the point I think everyone was making about this symbiont circle that happens from the co-tenancy that's created by having kind of your big box stores partnering up with your smaller boutique retailers, and how that creates an experience that people want to go to and enjoy. You know, most of us, while we might stop and hit a big store like a Target, usually along the way I'm stopping at other places within the center. And if the center only has one reason to visit, I am not nearly as likely to go there. I tend to shop, and I hope that I'm kind of normalized in the sense, but I don't know if I'm ever normalized. I think that people tend to do the same thing, which is you go to convenience where you say, I need to hit this store, this store, this store, and be able to get in and out. And so it really helps to have a good base of co-tenancy within your shopping centers. You're not going to get that solely from big box. You're not going to get that solely from small business. And this is, I think, to your point, Kim, this is why they're so important, that they really do feed off of each other. That, you know, big box by itself has plenty of challenges. Amazon is really disrupted. The world has changed a lot. They have plenty of things they have to overcome. But so does small business. And that's why I think having zones or areas where you can go and have a shopping experience that allows you to have a whole bunch of different types of shopping centers really helps. It's good to have your small mom and pop store and go in and grab that blouse that you're not going to find anywhere else. And it's good to have Walmart that's going to sell you something that at a less of a price, but something that's maybe more common. And people want both experiences. They don't want just one or the other.
Yeah,
Right.
True.
Yeah, and I want to go back to one point that Kim made that I think has, you know, two very important parts to it. One is that you talked about how, you know, small businesses typically will try to utilize, you know, locals for supplying their services or their needs, right? So the, you know, local restaurant may be looking to, you know, get, you know, locally sourced tomatoes or whatever it might be, or get from a local food distributor. I think you see that a lot more with those smaller businesses, right? They want to be able to utilize other small businesses.
Right. Because usually the national chain will buy from where they buy nationally.
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
It creates that great synergy of, you know, small supporting small in that regard. But the other part too is that where I think that we're starting to see some change too, and this has been kind of gradually happening over like the last, you know, 10 years or so.
Are you getting louder?
Oh, am I?
The volume was gone, and then all of a sudden it started growing.
Like,
Yeah.
why is he getting so angry? What's going on?
Don't
Listen
yell at
to
us.
me.
But you maintained your composure. It was great.
Yeah. But you do have some of the larger chains. You have like Albertsons, right? They have a program which they used to refer to as hyperlocal, and now I think it's called something else. But basically, is the store managers had the ability to bring in a certain percentage of their stock to be local products. I think Walmart kind of has a very similar type product where they will work to try and bring in more local products as well that are either manufactured or, you know, or sourced in the area. I think you'll continue to see more and more of that, because that helps the big box as much as it helps the local store as well.
Yes, I think there's a kind of a response to awareness that has been raised within the public as to where your products come from and what kind of items that you're purchasing, right? I think consumers now feel a much greater degree of responsibility given what Kim has shared with us about marriage rates and how those are affected by shopping. People are really concerned about where their products come from. They like to know that they're shopping local, even if they're shopping in a bigger box. So it's helpful to have those pieces. And I think that's a part of the retail community shifting to pay attention to those demands, right? To shifting to pay attention to their customer demands.
Yeah, I think knowing where their product is coming from has become an extremely important thing. I remember, years and years ago, the Buy American Products was a huge campaign. Well, that's come back again, but for a totally different reason now. But now people want to know that it is sourced locally or that it's at least sourced in the U.S. type of thing. So that makes
Walmart even has a Buy American manufacturing arm of their company as well.
Mm-hmm.
Until you get to products like this that are made in every single country across the world, right?
Yeah.
Then it gets a little bit more challenging.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
one of the things. Okay.
I was just going to say that's our goal now, right? Is to try and reshore as much of that as possible now.
Absolutely.
So, one of the things I thought would be an interesting piece of this conversation is what some of you guys are doing in order to promote the shopping local piece. I mean, Kim's got it right over her head. I mean, I know we've all kind of touched on it from time to time. And Grant, you talked about it a little bit with the way that you integrate the community with events and small business together all in one space. But, how we can take the position that we're in and try to assist the small businesses here, and then what that means to them and what it means to the greater community. Because I think that there's a lot of eyeballs on the action we do. And when the brokers and the retail community see us supporting local, I think it gives them a lot of confidence to recruit even more local.
Absolutely.
And so I was throwing that out there as a topic point to see if it keep going. It doesn't run like Patrick says it.
Well,
it runs
I'll share what I've always done. And that I think the best thing to do is lead by example. I make sure to get out to my businesses, and I don't just get out to talk to them. I get out to purchase. So I make sure that I eat at my small business restaurants. I buy what I can from my small businesses in Wildomar. Wildomar is a little bit different. One of our council members has always said you can't buy underwear in Wildomar. That's true. We don't have all of the retail yet that some others say, no, we can't buy underwear in Wildomar.
What is everyone wearing then?
Well, we're obviously going to Murrieta and Lake Elsinore to buy our underwear. That's why. But at least I hope. But certainly getting out, meeting with the business owners and supporting them with my own dollars, my own personal dollars, and then promoting that I'm there and that I am supporting, not promote that I'm supporting them, but just promote it, on social media so that other people, and it really works. I mean, it sounds so simple, but it really works. I see all the time on social media that someone will say, you keep talking about the tostadas at Los Reyes. I'm going to have to go get a tostada. I mean, over time, it really does start to change people and get them to understand that, to kind of see those hidden mom and pops that maybe they were driving right past before. So certainly getting out and supporting them and kind of leading by example is definitely, one way that I try to support our local small businesses.
That's huge, Kim. That's what we try to do here as well. Not only myself, but the rest of the staff. We shop here, we go to lunch here, we go out, meet with our business people, show up at the events, patronize their businesses. There's a lot of wonderful little restaurants that we rotate around and just try to be part of the community and spend our money here. And it helps. It's huge.
I've always said I single-handedly keep 4 ice cream shops and about 36 restaurants open on a daily basis. So.
No wonder I'm diabetic.
I can testify to that.
Yeah.
It's true.
And I just want to say, Benny Subs, you guys have the best chicken salad sandwich anywhere. I had it for lunch today. It was fantastic. If you haven't tried it, come try it.
But the other thing I've done in the past too, I've started a business spotlight series. I know, and the chamber picked up on and did something similar to that. meet what was it called? A minute to meet during COVID. When we couldn't really go out, I was going out and personally interviewing on camera some of our businesses out there. But when that got shut down, we moved to more of a marketing format where it was just graphics on social media, but getting people to understand that, and the chamber, the Murrieta Wildomar Chamber, has done a similar campaign trying to get people to understand that there are real people behind these businesses. And these people have families, Scott. They have families and loved ones.
Thanks to your shopping. Oh my God, what would happen otherwise?
And just getting to know them and feeling like you can walk into that restaurant and wave at Angelo and know who he is and know that he just got his citizenship, and just a lot of social media type campaigns to get people to understand that there are people behind that brand.
Yeah, I think that goes back to, what we were saying earlier, is that, all these, different little kind of programs or campaigns, they all add up to a huge amount of support, right? So whether it's the what is it, minute
to meet.
Yeah, a minute.
It was a minute to meet, but yours was behind the curtain, or behind
something like that.
Behind the brand, something like that.
Then there's the the Friends campaign that's going on right now, and there's Restaurant Week, which we work with both of the cities on. There's a lot of different little campaigns that all add up to huge parts of it, and that's what I think is taking those smaller chunks. There's more success in it by looking at it and breaking it down that way than trying to build some big, hairy, audacious, program type of thing. So
why'd you have to say hairy? Okay, so the guy with the beard always drops that in. One small business that isn't getting enough credit here is the Chambers of Commerce, and Lake Elsinore's Chamber of Commerce and Wildomar's Chamber of Commerce, and then of course Murrieta's Chamber of Commerce have all done a fantastic job. And when Patrick talks about, for example, Restaurant Week, a few years ago, we started something called Eat Your Heart Out Murrieta, and it was basically a restaurant week designed to promote small local restaurants and boutique dining in the city. The Chamber's taken it on and taken it to bigger, greater heights, as they do with everything that we do. There's no time where, we have an idea or concept that they can't take and enhance. And I know, Kim, you have that same experience working with the Chamber of Commerce. We've all had shop local programs, but the Chamber is consistently always out there promoting, Small Business Saturday, shop local. Right now, the city is working on a shop safe, shop local program, and the Chamber has done a great job. They're the small business that doesn't get noticed for promoting all the small businesses. So thank you, Patrick Ellis. And really, more than thanking you, I want to thank all the people that work behind you that we don't get to see right here on the video that really make it all happen. Because somewhere out there, there's Hilders and Heathers and Kims and Mike with the Y for some reason, and Rhonda's that are out there every single day making sure that these programs get off the ground and running. And we're fortunate to have such strong Chamber support down here. I think it's what makes the whole kind of small business world tick in this region.
Well, and to Scott's point, one of the things that we started and roll during normal times is the Murrieta Wildomar Lunch with Friends. And every week we go to a different restaurant in either Murrieta or Wildomar, or just someone who is a Chamber member, so they might be located elsewhere. Mm-hmm. But we patronize, and you bring 40, 50, sometimes 60 people to lunch for that Wednesday. And we've been doing that for 7 or 8 years now, every single Wednesday, save COVID year. Not been doing it this year, but a lot of, like Patrick said, a lot of little programs like that are often running concurrently with one another, and they all add up to, number one, the business is really feeling like they're part of something larger, which is huge for them, feeling like they're getting supported by their local city government, and just creating that sense of community where the residents and the business owners and the government all feel engaged with one another, and the Chamber, everyone, it all works together to create a really nice support system.
And I would concur, and the Chambers of Commerce, whether you're a retail business or whether you're a service business or other types of businesses that are in the community, even if you think you're kind of a below the radar, belonging to a Chamber of Commerce is the best investment you can make, from the get-go. And it's probably the most cost-effective investment you're going to make for what you get out of it. And the things that you and Scott, you and Kim just mentioned about marketing and the small business events and things that are sort of shop local campaigns, but you get legislative advocacy and access to civic leaders and elected officials, because whether you like it or not, and if you're in business, all that comes with it, the territory, whether you thought you were getting in that space or not, it all comes with being a business owner. And chambers of commerce are by far the best bang for your buck to get kind of all that as part of starting and operating your business. And especially when you've got chambers come in various forms and sizes, and some have a little bit more capacity to do things than others. But, in Southwest, you've got some really strong, chambers. And of course, Patrick, being the prime example of that. And so I just don't know why you'd want to start a business and not do that.
I feel like Patrick's going to owe each of us a check by the time this is done.
Yeah.
Are you guys getting something for this? Because I'm not.
So I think we're going to have to change the name of this podcast.
No, but and I would like to say too, because I might be the only one, I'm looking at all of you guys, and I think I might be the only one here that actually started as a small business owner with the chamber. And then moved into the government space. So I actually started a small business in 2006 and joined the Murrieta. At that time, it was just the Murrieta Chamber, had not yet joined on with Wildomar yet.
Oh.
I don't know what that was in my room. Had not joined on with Wildomar yet. So it was the Murrieta Chamber. And I joined almost by accident at that time. This was back in 2006. I just thought that was a good idea. Let's join it. Best thing that I ever did for my business, got me more referrals and connected me to more people quickly than I could have ever done. So yeah, I can never say enough about number one, your local Chamber of Commerce, and number two, certainly the Murrieta Wildomar Chamber of Commerce. So I want my check, Patrick.
So Rob, and I love the hero worship for the chamber because they are supremely good. But I want to point out that supporting local means something different at different times. And during COVID, I want to just congratulate the county for recognizing that we can't do what we normally can. I know single businesses in our city that have been kept alive from your grant program. They would not be here right now because they are not open to this day. They are functioning on the benevolence of organizations like yours that have been able to put together programs that directly help small business. So I think you guys announced last week, Murrieta alone is nearing 200 grants that came out of your grant program, out of the 46 million you put out there. That is absolutely huge. The city was able to put together a small one. It only helps 25 businesses in our city, but the bandwidth that you guys have, and that the fact that you've done it for Lake Elsinore and Wildomar and all the cities around us, you can't say enough about how good that is.
It's been huge.
Hey, we still have a lot more funding left, so please keep promoting it. And if you're watching, check it out, because we do have money left, so it's not over. Well, we're fortunate because we got that. It's a rare and unique time all around. Good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're pretty lucky that we got this big influx of CARES Act money. And so, our board said, get this in the hands of some of the businesses, because it's just the suffering is immense. And it's not a huge amount of money, but for some, if that helps them keep their doors open, that's precisely what we want to do. So, thank you guys for promoting it.
Yeah, it's been a lifeline.
That's exactly what it does. It is a lifeline.
Yeah, and that's what we're all trying to do, right? Is right now it's all, and that's why we talk about, small business, local businesses, because that's what we're really focused in a lot on right now, is because they need more help now than they probably ever have. And so that's why we're really, really focused as much as we are there, and probably will be for quite a while. So.
Very well said.
All right.
I mean, this has been a big love fest, everybody.
I know.
I hope the public knows we don't all like each other this much. I mean, this is playing nice, but boy, oh boy, this has been obscene.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, maybe there'll be hearts flying somewhere.
I hope so.
Hey, don't tempt Grant, because he's only got a few more days left. He might let a few zingers fly.
Yeah.
We're gonna
all
miss
right. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate your time every week when we do this.
Thanks, everybody.
It's great to talk to you guys about this. Look forward to next week when we'll probably spend a little extra time on Grant, since it'll be his last conversation. So
The grand
Well,
farewell
thanks
tour.
for joining us for our Southwest Riverside County Economic Development ECONversations podcast. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Be safe. Be cool. It's gonna